Welcome to the Capital Forum. It's a beautiful day today, and we are happy to have this opportunity here to hold this forum on the 65th International Human Rights Day. As such, we'll be looking into the 16-year-long persecution of Falun Gong practitioners in China and the radical changes in China. For the past 30 years, what we have learned, or the so-called China's economic growth, has been at the expense of its social injustice, its damaged environment, and of course, the deteriorating human rights. Especially the past 16-year-long persecution of Falun Gong in China has been viewed as the most worst human rights disasters since World War II. And today we have invited several victims of the persecution. Let's wait no further and invite Mr. Frank Lee to give an introduction of this part. Frank.
Thank you, Dr. Huang, for the introduction. Thank you, everyone, for coming here. On July 20th, 1999, the former Chinese Communist Party leader, Jiang Zemin, started the persecution of Falun Gong. Here are some statistics of the persecution from Minghui.org, a website that offers the most comprehensive and up-to-date window into the lives of Falun Gong practitioners, including in China and throughout the world. From January to June 2015, 2,539 Falun Gong practitioners in China were arrested, and 430 of them were sentenced. The cases are distributed across 30 provinces, autonomous regions, and municipalities directly under the central government. The persecution continues to this day, 16 years after Jiang Zemin initiated it. Today, we have invited 8 victims of the persecution to speak. They are stepping forward to serve as witnesses to raise awareness on this brutal persecution. From their stories, we remind ourselves that the victims of the persecution are not just part of the statistics. They're real people with families and loved ones, and they are law-abiding citizens who would like to live normal lives just like the rest of us. They were persecuted for practicing Falun Gong, a peaceful meditation rooted in traditional Chinese culture. Practitioners of Falun Gong perform 5 sets of meditation exercises and follow the principles of truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance in their daily lives. They come from all walks of life, and some of them are very successful in their fields. Through their stories, let's learn more about the severity and scale of the persecution. Now, I would like to invite my first victim, Mr. Zhang Huidong. Come up here, and maybe that microphone. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna invite my witnesses one by one and start telling their stories. And Mr. Zhang, he's from China. And yeah. Which part of China would you tell us? Yeah. 哪一个省来的?
Liaoning Province.
Liaoning Province. And he came to the United States in year 2014. In China, he was a deputy general manager in a real estate development company. After practicing Falun Gong, he told me that he obtained good health and also learned how to be a better person by examining his shortcomings when confronted with a problem or conflict. More importantly, he began to understand the meaning of life. Now, Mr. Zhang, I understand that you were arrested multiple times. How many times? 有多少次被抓？
总共被抓捕4次。
a total of 4 times they arrested him for just doing this peaceful meditation. And I also understand that in order to run away from their beatings and persecution, you were hurt. 就是你在逃走的过程之中，是受过伤，而且就是对身体有 permanent damage。能讲一下吗？
是的，我因为第3次抓捕的时候，为了逃避警察的抓捕，我不得不从楼上跳下，导致我双脚的外踝和腰椎骨粉性骨折，并且第3次抓捕的时候，警察把我的眉骨全部打，我有个 photo 看一下。
Yeah, show us the photo. So the third time when they arrested him, in order to run away, he jumped out of the window, and his ankles were fractured, and he hurt his back badly, and I can hardly recognize you from this picture. 也几乎认不出你来了啊。And it's a horrible thing, and it's got to be very painful. I imagine it's
Yes.
What kind of treatment? What kind of treatment did they 要送到医院，然后多少天才恢复？
大概3个月。
Took 3 months to recover. Okay, and do you have and also you have relatives who also practice 法轮功？你家人也有修炼法轮功？
我家里人，我父母因为这场迫害也修炼法轮功，也被先后去世了。是。
Sorry to hear that. His parents both passed away because of the persecution, one after another. Do you have anything to say? Anything you would like to say to the audience? 有什么想要跟
Yes, stop this persecution and bring Jiang Zemin to justice.
Stop the persecution and bring Jiang Zemin to justice.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for stepping forward.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Zhang. Next, I would like to introduce Liu Jianing. She was the deputy mayor, come on up, of Heze City in 1985. 在1985年的时候，你是菏泽市的副市长。
是的。
In Shandong Province. She came to the United States in July 2013. 您是2013年7月来美国的。好。And in 1988, before she retired, she was the deputy chief engineer and commissioner of textile industry office in Shandong Province. 那请问你是哪一年开始修炼法轮功的？When did you start practicing the 法轮功 exercise meditation?
1996年。
1996 she started. And I realized that you gained health benefits. 身体是得到了受益。
是的。
Yep, and I understand that her cardiovascular disease and many other illnesses were completely cured because of this practice. And she also had very bad temper before, and after the practice, she became very calm and peaceful. Now, because of practicing this meditation based on truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance, she was arrested many times. 你很多次是被抓。有多少次
？5次被抓
，3
次被抄家。
5 times she was arrested, and 3 times they ransacked her home. 然后被抓以后是被劳教 ，were forced to labor.
有洗脑班
brainwash, the so-called brainwash.
还有劳教。
And they made you work. 他们要你做奴隶。
那个在拘留所做过奴工。
奴工对 and could you tell us how many hours you have to work and what kind of work that you had to do? 每天你要做多少时间？要做些什么？
做奴工呢，是我在的时候做奴工是扒大蒜，就是说要把那个大蒜呢一半一半的把皮都要剥下来。那个从早上吃完早饭吧，剥到晚上吃晚饭。剥不完的，吃完饭以后再剥。这批大蒜呢，我听犯人讲是出口日本的。
So, starting in the morning after your breakfast, you have to start peel these garlics, and then all the way through dinner, 一天从早上吃完饭一直播到晚上。
哎，晚上吃完。
Right,
是的。
before dinner. And then these garlic, as you understand, they are exported to Japan. 就是说，出口到日本 exported to Japan.
是的。
Right, so who said the persecution doesn't affect us? The products being shipped all around the world. That time it was in Japan. The next time could be to the United States, right? So it affected us all. And then I understand that you were separated from your son. 当时你不能跟你的儿子见面，能跟我们讲一下？
我儿子97年是到美国来攻读博士生。
Okay, so your son came to United States to study. He was also a 法轮功 practitioner. 他也是法轮功学员。
是的，他是出国前就练法轮功了。
Before he came to the United States, he started practice.
是的，我儿子97年就练法轮功了。他呢是当年是97年是26岁，我呢是53岁。他8月份嘛到美国来攻读博士学位。但是呢，他因为练法轮功进了中共的黑名单，所以呢不能够回国。我呢是练法轮功，中共不给我办护照，我也不能来美国。那我们2个呢就不能见面，直到我和我老伴儿快70岁的时候，才就是2013年5月份才给我们办了护照。我还能够就说到美国来呢，就是见到了我儿子。这我和儿子分别呢16年之久。
So your son was 26 years old when he came to study in the United States. Because President Falun Gong, he could not go back to China. You were in China, you got stuck there because they won't give you passports. Therefore, you cannot see each other for 16 years. 16年见不了面。And then final 最后2013年来了以后，你们就团圆。
但是我很庆幸呢，在有生之年还能见到我儿子，因为我知道我的很多的认识的朋友，他们到现在还和海外的子女啊骨肉分离，比我的时间还要长。
She's very glad that in her lifetime she's able to reunite with her son, and then she understands that there are many cases right now still ongoing. Families cannot see each other. Okay, thank you so much. 谢谢你刘女士。Okay, next I would like to invite Dr. Zhang Yuwei. Come on up, Dr. Zhang. I don't need to translate for you.
Okay.
So I'm just going to ask you questions instead of reading your information. So I understand that you were a medical student in China when you were practicing Falun Gong, and then that's when during the persecution and they persecuted you already.
Mm-hmm.
And were your schooling delayed or interrupted in any ways?
Yes, and actually I spent 13 years in our school because when I was a PhD candidate, so my study was terminated for 2 years.
Yeah, it took you 13 years. Normally it doesn't take that long.
No.
Yep, and then after you graduated, you got a job. How were you treated at your job?
Yeah, and after I got a job, actually I got an offer from Nanjing Medical University, but when the employer found out that I was a Falun Gong practitioner, they rescinded the offer.
They withdrew the offer? Because your practice, Falun Gong.
And another university, Southeast University, they gave me the offer and I worked there. But I know that if they found out that I am a practitioner, so I will be in trouble again. So there's a reason why I escaped to the United States.
Right. So all the harassment and all the prejudice against you. Now during those difficult times, how did your family, your close ones, your friends and neighbors, how did they treat you?
Sometimes it's really hard to believe that your friends and your colleagues or neighbors were required to watch you, to monitor you. So when I finally was going to leave China, so I later know that 2 of my neighbors, they told me that they were required to watch me, to monitor me every time, like 24 hours a day. And they say, finally, we needn't do that. So in China, three Falun Gong practitioners, if they get together, were considered as illegal party. So then we will be arrested. This is the reason I was arrested for 4 times.
4 times, because your close friends and families watching you and report back to the authorities.
Once is my schoolmates, they just came to my home to have dinner, so that we have 3 practitioners together. Then it's called the illegal party. Then I was arrested.
Oh goodness. Okay, but we're so glad that you're here now, and you are. I understand that you're you have a successful career. You are a research analyst in Washington D.C. area in a prominent Fortune 100 company. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Zhang. Okay, next I would like to invite Ms. Ma Chunmei. Oh, Congressman, welcome.
大家好。
Yes, I understand that because of practicing Falun Gong in China, you were kidnapped many times. How many times were you kidnapped? 几次被抓？因为这个。
我因为去练法轮功4次被抓。
4 times you were
2次劳
kidnapped.
教4年多。
And then 2 times you were sent to the labor camp for 4 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how did they treat you in there, in the labor camp? 在劳教所里面，他们是怎么对待你的？
围攻打骂，3天3夜不让我睡觉，电棍使
They
人
beat
床。
you. Okay. They used electric batons on you and didn't allow you to sleep for 3 days and 3 nights. And you understand that you have some pictures. Yeah. All right. This is how they force feed you. Okay. Right. This is modeled after her. What was she recalled? Okay. Right. And I understand that at the time you were arrested in labor camp, they were torturing you. They forced your husband, who was not a Falun Gong practitioner, to divorce you. 就是说，当时你在劳教所里面，受这些酷刑、这些折磨。你的先生不是法轮功学员，他们逼他跟你离婚。
Yes，
Okay.
他们逼着我先生和我离婚，
对，
什么也不
So
给
this
我
was you. 这是你。
这是我的全家照，
That was your
这是我
husband,
先
ex-
生，
yeah?
这是我的孩
and that's
子
your。child. And they forced him, when he visited you, to divorce you. 他逼他跟你离婚。
是他
Did
就
he
是说
succeed doing that?
我不写那个转化的，就是说那个法官说你离也得离，不离也判你离。
Right. No matter what happened, they're gonna make you to divorce. Okay. 那最后是离了吗 And then they
是，被逼无奈，就是他们什么也不给我，就是离也离，不离也判我离，就这样我的幸福家庭被拆散了。
Right. So they broke apart your family. And after you came out, 你出来以后 what did you have? 你有什么？家里
我什么从劳教所出来，眼前一片茫茫，什么都没有了，
No
没有家
family?
没有家，
What
没
about the
有
child? The custody of the child? 有抚养权是谁的？
孩子也都归他，都什么都不给我了，
Right.
什么都没有
And I
了。
understand that you were running businesses, successful business before you were
呀，我有经营
persecuted.
加油站，
And what happened to all the property, money? What happened? 那些钱，那些财产。
什么都没给我，就是加油站呐、小百货商店呐、
It was a grocery
什么都没有
store,
了，
and
孩
a
子也
gas
不给
station.
我。
Okay. And nothing. Just nothing.
Yes, I
Okay.
have nothing. 我就是说，我就是出来之后呢，什么都没有，没有任何证件，到处流浪，
No even ID, and they just drift around in the society. And
流
then
浪
what
到
happened?
泰国。
Right. Okay. So you ran away to Thailand. To Thailand. And how long would you stay there? 在泰国你多
泰
久？
国我在被抓进去，因为我没有身份，没有证件，被
Right, you have
抓
no
进
ID, no passport,
泰国移
you
民
ran
局
there.
监狱，待了1年半，
You
那里
spent
生
a
不如
year
死。
and a half in the Thailand immigration jail.
Yes.
In a very harsh condition.
我还是比较幸运的，我能活着来到美国。
And,
我的
okay.
妹妹马春玲，
You're very glad that you can make it here to the
被
United
非
States
法
alive.
她被非法关押了8次，在劳教所，在马三家劳教所关了2次。
And you say you have a sister.
这是我妹妹
Okay.
马春玲
She's still in Thailand right now.
呀，没有身份，没
No
有
ID. How long has she
Yeah.
been there? 她在那里多久？
她现在一全家都在泰国，
The whole
就是
family is
没
there
孩子
with the child
孩子不能
and the
上
husband.
学。
The child cannot go to
没有
school.
工作，
Okay.
非常的艰难。我的小
No
妹妹，
work.
另一个妹妹，她在 也是被迫害，在中国被迫害，逃到泰国被非法，在泰国由于中共的施压嘛，在泰国移民局监狱，他没有身份，关进移民局监
Thailand
狱将近4年多。
Right, over 4 years there. In Thailand, the condition is harsh. In what way? 怎么样艰难法? The immigration jail.
泰国移民局监狱，我在那儿待的时候，一个大屋子有几百人。
One big room. How many people?
共用
有 a few hundred people in one big room in the Thailand immigration.
没有睡觉的地方，晚上睡觉你一看就像死人堆在一起一样。
No place to sleep. 没有床 ，no bed.
都躺在地下，腿落腿的睡，像死人一样，垃圾成堆，而且虫子到处跑。
On top of each other. That's the kind of condition. It's unfortunate. And you just mentioned that there's an infiltration and heavy pressure from the CCP to the Thailand government. 你说中共对泰国政府施压。
Yes.
And then all the practitioners being arrested, they face imminent being imminently sent back to China. 他们是面对要被遣返的。
是的，非常的危险，而且就是其他。就是中国就是维族人已经遣回去很多了，
Right, I heard about the Uyghurs being sent back to.
所以现在泰国移民局监狱里还关了13个，他们抓了20多，现在还关了13个。
Currently, there are 13 Falun Gong practitioners still in jail in Thailand.
是随时面临着被遣回中国的危险。
They're facing being sent back to China.
而且中共迫害现在还在继续，活摘法轮功学员器官超过200多万，现在还在加紧的活摘。
Right. The organ harvesting and all that is happening in China. Currently being sent back. It's not a very dangerous.
Yeah, 我的朋友朝夕相处的朋友10多人都害死了。现在我家乡的朋友，车平被偷偷判了4年，现在瘦成一把骨头了。
You said the people that you knew back in China, over a dozen perished, died. You made it out here. 就是说你只是一个人，是其他10几个人都
是我的朋友10多人都死了。
Yeah.
我活着来到这里，我今天所说的话也是他们想要对大家说的话。
Something that you try to voice for them. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. And we want to. And now, if people want to say help your sister, 如果他们有谁想帮你的妹妹，怎么可以帮？ How can if kind-hearted people in the United States would like to help your sister, how can they help? 能怎么帮你们？
如果我们的美国的，因为美国人权第一，美国议员能够写封信给 UN， 或者是给驻泰国的美国移民局、美国大使馆，请他们能尽快帮我妹妹来到美国，因为我是美国公民嘛，这样她就会尽早的和我团聚，能够脱离危险。
Okay, and then you wish that the Congress offices can write letters to urge to help your sister.
Yes.
Okay.
我讲非常非常的感谢，谢谢。
Thank you so much, Mao Chun-mei. Thank you. Yes, Dr. Nance.
Yeah, we have a very honorable, distinguished speakers joining us right now. Sorry, Frank, to interrupt for the moment. He has been the U.S. representative of California for 26 years, since 1989. He chairs the House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Europe, Asia, and emerging threats. In 1970s and 80s, he served as assistant press secretaries to presidential campaign of Ronald Reagan and was President Reagan's senior speech writer. He's the most forceful leaders in the Congress on human rights and freedoms, including on various aspects of the Chinese Communist Party. He said in 2012 in our hearings, he said the most ghoulish manifestations of the gangsterism is the forced harvesting of organs of political prisoners and religious followers, and and that arrests particularly the Chinese religious movement known as the Falun Gong. To rip a body open or someone like that, especially if that person's religious or political beliefs are pacifistic and not a physical threat to the regime, this is about the most monstrous crimes that I can conceive of. And let's give a big hand of a round of applause, Congressman Donald Rautenbacher.
I had to stop by to make sure that you understand that on a very busy day, it's hard for congressmen to do anything. I've been about 8 meetings already today, but I wanted to make sure that I came here to express to you my solidarity, and I'm sure the solidarity of other members of Congress who are, as I say, hyper busy today, that we are in solidarity with you when it comes to the people of China. We are on the side of you. We are on the side of the people of China. We are not on the side of an oppressive government that basically is plundering your nation and a nation that threatens the stability of the world. We are on your side. Don't ever worry about that. Now, what we can do about it, we need to discuss. But let me just say, I admire the Falun Gong so much for your courage. I admire you so much for standing up to brutality and not cowering. I admire you so much for offering an alternative to people who would use violence and suppression. I admire you so much for emphasizing the positive things rather than simply attacking the people that are in power now. These are things that will win. You will win in the end. And when the Falun Gong wins, the people of China will be free, and the people of the United States will be standing right next to you. I can assure you of that. I wanted to make sure also that you know that I am a Christian, and I believe that whether it's the Falun Gong or Christianity, that those people who touch the spiritual life of others and are seeking to make a more peaceful world, that we are all allies no matter what country we come from. You know, communism, I spent most of my life fighting against communism, and I studied communism. And as you know, that you have dialectical materialism was the theory on which communist philosophy is based. Well, dialectical materialism is about as far away and distant from the Falun Gong and what the positive things that you offer as any philosophy could be. So they see you as the great threat, not only that you're there and your people and you're not part of their team, but you undermine their very fundamental belief that we can treat people like animals, that basically that the respect for life and human life is not even in the dialectical materialism, makes all of that irrelevant. You challenge those basic theories and that is why the Falun Gong has been targeted by these monsters who still hold power in Beijing. Well, you will win. All I can say is I have 11-year-old triplets at home, and 1 boy, 2 girls, and I am certain that someday I will put them on an airplane and we will go to Beijing and we will see the removal of this dictatorship. So don't think you're alone. You're not. Don't think that when you're suffering that no one understands and no one sees that. We do. It's part of our soul as a country. You know, America, we don't have just one religion and we don't have one race. America is what? Is a place where we've come from all over the world, every race, every religion, every ethnic group, and we've come here to show that there's a better way. And you, my friends, are helping America know what the better way is. Because without you giving testimony, you know all we'd hear from if you weren't here? All we'd hear from was from American businesses who are making money cutting deals by plundering China and the people of China in cooperation with this dictatorship in Beijing. That's all we'd hear. But with you here, and you talking to each other and to us and to organizing, letting the people there, the Falun Gong in China know that you are here and that they are not alone, and you're also letting the American people know this is what's happening. This is in reality. This is the evil force. This is the good. You help us determine what we should do as a nation that's founded on principles of human rights. So thank you very much. Keep up the fight. You are not alone. We are with you. God bless you. Thank you. And I'm sure I got about 20 different votes to go to right now. But if my other colleagues didn't come today, this was a really busy day. But I wanted to make sure I was here with you. So thank you.
Yeah. Okay, the congressman has a very busy voting schedule. Let's give him another round of applause.
Okay, so it was an honor to have the congressman to pay us a visit. Now, our witnesses who were here before, please come back up. 请刚才几位证人再上来。And if there are more visitors, the better. And I will be more than happy to step down and give the podium to our honorable visitors. Okay, next. Next, I would like to invite Yu Jing, our next witness. Yu Jing was born in Hebei province. She's from Hebei province, and that's near Beijing. And she came to the United States in April 2015, very recently. 您是最近来的，是4月份，2015年。
对，我是今年的4月24号。来华盛顿的。
Okay, and in China, Yu Jing was the daycare center director with 1,100 children, managing 200 staff members for a company, China Petroleum Pipeline Bureau. And in the 1980s, she received many awards for her excellent work. Now, because of practicing Falun Gong, she was tortured many times since year 2000. 您是2000年开始修炼法轮功的，然后就被多次这个折磨啊，迫害。1997年也没关系，You can correct me 。1997年，但是呢，就是2000年开始是被迫害，对吧？1997年。
2000年的2月份。第一次被非法关押。
Okay, the first time being persecuted was year 2000. Now, may I ask you a question? What was the reason you practiced 法轮功？我想请问一下，为什么你会修炼法轮功？
因为我看到真善忍这3个字，我当时眼前一亮，我就觉得人人都做到真善忍，这社会该多美好。
Okay. So you saw the principles of Falun Gong, the truthfulness, compassion, forbearance. You say, hey, if everybody can do this, the world will be a very wonderful place. Now, so that means you didn't start the practice because you want a better health, not just because of that. Because I understand that many people, they started out, hey, and it's very beneficial for my health, and then they discover, oh, this is also very beneficial for the mind as well. 就是说，当时您修炼是不是说就是为了祛病健身这个原因，而是说你说这个这个道理被他吸引了，是吧？
是的，我就是对这个真善忍这个道理和道德的提升和那个精神层面的一个提升，对我来讲非常的帮助。
Understood. Okay. Now, so starting year 2000, you were persecuted. You persecuted. So how many times did they arrest you? 从2000年开始，他们抓过你多少次？
总共我非法抓捕3次。
They illegally kidnapped you, arrest you 3 times, simply just because you want to practice Falun Gong, truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. 就是因为真善忍，你要这样修炼，他们就抓你3次，酷刑、劳教、labor camp, torture. Now I understand that at the time you had an 11-year-old child. 当时我知道，就是您有一位孩子，女孩，11岁的孩子。
是的。
Okay, so you were in labor camp being tortured. Your child, 11 years old, what happened to her? Who took care of her? 他就说你女儿11岁，你在劳教所被迫害，那他怎么办？
当时我被非法关押的时候，他们在打我和非法
They
关
beat
押
you
的
in
时
the
候，
labor camp.
我非常的痛苦，我
Of
就
course,
想
you're in pain.
到
Yep.
我的孩子才11岁，因
11-year-old child at home.
因为我是单身妈妈，
Okay, you're single parent.
这个孩子呢需要成人的照顾，我又不能在他身边，我不知道他会在哪儿。
Right, you don't know what happened to her. So and who took care of her? 谁照顾她？
是我的父母和我的弟弟。
Your parents and your younger brother. How old were your parents at the time, taking care of an 11-year-old child while you're still in labor camp? 你的父母年纪多大？
那时候他们快80岁了。
Near 80. They're in their late 70s, having to take care of a young child and their daughter, you, being tortured in the labor camp. 这么大年纪需要照顾一个11岁的小孙女，然后他们的女儿又被劳教、被酷刑。那他们的精神压力 their pressure, the mental pressure, 精神上的压力呢，一定是不得了了。
对，所以呢，我的父母身体也不太好，再加上还要照顾我的女儿，他们受的精神上和体力方面的很大的一个压力，所以他们呢现在都非常理解我，知道我追求我的信仰是按照真善忍做好人。
And they support you. Okay, that's wonderful. And now that you're in the United States, I understand that you're very grateful. 就是您现在在美国了，你对美国的政府啊、人民，是比较感谢的，对吧？ You understand that you're grateful to be here.
是的，我非常感谢美国政府和人民。我们今天和我的女儿能到这个自由的国度来生活和信仰，所以我感谢美国的政府。我们能有这样自由的一个生活的环境。
Yes, of course. Yep, she would like to thank the U.S. government and the American people for providing her and her daughter a home here. Okay, thank you, Eugene. Oh, no problem.
I have to interrupt again.
Yeah, sure.
Frank, sorry, we have another honorable distinguished speaker join the forum today. Congressman Ted Poe. He has been the U.S. representative of Texas since 2005. He chairs the Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Tourism, Non-Proliferations and Trade, and also serves as the vice chair of Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations. Congressman Poe is an outspoken advocate on border security, and through his bipartisan Victims' Rights Caucus in 2012 to advocate on behalf of victims in our nation's capital. Prior to the Congress, he served for 22 years as a criminal court judge in Houston and for 8 years in district attorney office, where he became the chief felony prosecutors and never lost a jury trial. And your friends and hero and mine, Congressman Ted Poe.
Thank you. Thank you very much for letting me come by and visit you and interrupt your meeting. Today is the 65th International Human Rights Day. It's fitting that we remember how the Chinese government has denied human rights to so many of the Falun Gong, your family members and your friends. The most basic human right for all peoples is to live. There are more Falun Gong practitioners in prison in China than any other persecuted group. The Chinese government's top priority is not people, but power. They saw the Falun Gong as rise in popularity in the 1990s. They saw them as a threat when really you're not a threat. But the Chinese government would not let the Falun Gong continue to rise. It is even worse than being in prison. We know that the government takes organs out of Falun Gong practitioners to give to someone else. We know this because brave men and women have come forward refusing to be silent who have seen this happen. A wife of a doctor forced to perform surgeries to take organs away. security guard ordered to stand and watch while those barbaric surgeries took place. Organ recipients were told that Falun Gong organs are especially healthy organs. That's why they want them. The evidence is undeniable of this detestable inhuman practice by the Chinese government. 10,000 or more people have been killed by the Chinese government for their organs. 10,000 people you know, people you bond with. This practice is a billion-dollar business for the Chinese government. Organ harvesting is the #1 source of revenue for the Chinese medical centers. How ironic. Medical centers are supposed to save lives, not take lives. Yet these medical centers take lives of those that the government does not like. The Chinese government makes a profit and silences any group that sees as a threat. But they cannot silence you. And they cannot silence others in the human rights advocacy. We know what they're up to, and we refuse to let it continue. The Chinese government is a terror to its own people. It's the enemy of its people. And as a former judge in Texas, I know a thing about justice. And justice has not been served to the Falun Gong community. Over the years, the Falun Gong practitioners or followers have been imprisoned, tortured, and killed, but despite Beijing's abuse, you continue to fight them back. China must end the oppression and persecution of the Falun Gong. You know, the world leaders have been in Paris talking about climate change. There needs to be a climate change in China. The air is polluted with the cries of the innocents murdered by the government. The land is defiled by the acts of torture and organ harvesting. And the blood of the Falun Gong is on the hands of the Chinese bureaucrats. So I hope one day soon all Chinese people can have the basic human right that we all have by our Creator, and that's to live freely. The Falun Gong deserves to live free of the oppression of murder. As an observer, way over here across the seas, I am impressed with the courage of the Falun Gong, a long way away. You know, the Chinese government, in its zeal to keep power, kills people. Power, not people, is the quest of the Chinese government. If the Chinese government were put on trial for human rights abuses, they would be, the world of free peoples would find them guilty. They would be in prison, not the Falun Gong. They would be locked up and they would not see the sunrise in the morning because they belong in the darkness of the dungeons of the prisons for what they have done to a people that deserve to be treated better. I commend you for your courage, your tenacity, and your spirit. And that's just the way it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The congressman has a very busy voting schedule today, so let's give him another round of applause. Thank you. Frank.
Okay, again, that was wonderful. We had our second honorable guest visiting us. We'll continue with our story here, and the witnesses that were here before, come on up. 刚才几位证人在一起上来，好。Next, I would like to introduce 3 Falun Gong practitioners together. They're sisters. They practiced Falun Gong and they were persecuted. 那下面呢，我想请3位法轮功学员啊，and they are Wang Chunrong, Wang Chunying, and Wang Chunyan. They're from Liaoning Province, China. Come on up, 请上来。Okay, and you're gonna share this this microphone. 你们3位一起共用这个了。Wang Chunrong, she's the oldest. Wang Chunrong 是大姐。She was a registered accountant and the CEO of a prestiged accounting firm with close to 80 employees in China. 春荣，我知道你在中国的时候是有一个会计师事务所。
Yes.
对对，Can I know you brought some materials？ 你带了一些你当年的这个公司的一些资料。
对。
Yep. So a prestige accounting firm, all right, with 80 employees and some of the brochures and materials, right? Okay, very successful business. Can we ask you how long? Those were that was the front door, the receptionist area, and how about your employees? 你的那职工？
对，
我是看一下你的相片啊。
我是1993年。
1993。
Yeah， 成立这个会计师事务所。
Oh, you started the business.
开始有2个退休的老员工和我一起，到我被抓的时候，2007年8月份已经有将近80名员工。
So it took you 14 years to build up this business. 用了14年来建立这个接近80人的这个大型的律师这个会计师事务所啊，对 ，Yep， 那中间那就是你了 ，You're the CEO。
中间是我，穿黑衣服这个是我。
Right. Okay. Now, so you practiced Falun Gong, and all 3 of you were persecuted by the communist regime. What happened to your business? 你的生意最后就你的这个律师这个
会计师事务所，
怎么样了
？2007年的8月份，我和我妹妹同时在这天被抓起来了。
2007, all 3 of you were arrested together. 3位都被一起抓啊。
对，完了，我的会计师事务所呢，就是在家的没有出去职业的员工有20多人。
There are 20 employees at the time that day in the company, right?
Yeah,
and the other ones went outside for whatever business they were doing.
全都被抓起来了。
They were arrested too. 你的员工也被抓。
抓。
Okay.
没有出去职业的，在家的。
Right, at the office. All right.
Yeah.
And
你给送到公安局地下室审了1宿，把员工全抓起来审了1宿，没放出来。
Interrogate them for one night, the whole overnight around.
叫他们揭发我，侮辱我啊，那个。
They asked them to say bad things about you and to so-called report you. So you were the CEO, and these people work for you. 那些是你们平时就是要对你就是要很尊敬的人。
是。
对，
是，那个这时候把我的会计师事务所的有个奔驰面包车和一个桑塔纳轿车给开走了，把那个
Benz and took away another car, yeah.
对，把那个所有的就是办公设施、电脑啊、打印机、复印机所有的资产吧，全部给拿走了。
Took away all of those. Okay.
把我的公章和那个就是法人章呢，就是拿走了。
Right, basically the permit to do business taken away.
对，完了给我门上呢就封上大封条。
Right, they sealed the door of your.
对，盖上公安局的章子。
Yeah.
这样我这个事务所也就完了。
Right, basically took down your business.
对，我是个那个高级会计师，注册会计师。
You're a senior registered accountant, right?
我干财务那时候已经40多年了。
Right, so you've been in the business for 40 years, and it took you 14 years to build up that big business. Yeah, and
我这个事务所，因为什么？我最痛心的就是这个事务所这么好的员工和我在一起工作这么多年，就像一个小孩子，已经14岁了。
Right, so it's like your child. Now, let me ask you this: in China, a lot of things are fake. Products, bad, it just a lot of dishonesty there. Taking down your business, you're Falun Gong practitioners. Truthfulness is it's one of the first of the 3 principles. Wouldn't that be a big loss for the society to take down an accounting firm? How did you operate your business? 你的对这个生意是怎么运作的？
对，我就是那个 我这个事务所当时就是说一下子给封了以后，我最痛心的就像这个孩子长到14岁，
Right,
突
it's
然
your child, of course, it's
突
your
然
baby.
夭折了，就是
Yep,
那种滋
they
味
take。it away. Of
我在
course.
监狱里，我最痛心就是我回忆我的员工，他们因为我这样抓起来以后，他们都失业了。
So all your employees,
这些
they
员
lost
工
their jobs.
都是非常优秀的，因为我们这个事务所呢规模比较大，它不仅有会计师，就报表审计。
Right, so they're accountants too. They're very they're elite of the industry, right?
而且有资产评估，你是资产评估，而且有那个工程造价审计，就是盖 building 就是盖楼什么审计。
Okay, so right, those technical terms I might not be able to translate, but basically it does a lot more than just regular accounting paperwork, auditing and an estimate and all that. Okay, yeah.
他们是就是我们地区大连那个桥梁，还有那个地快轨呀，都是还有你们一进大连就是有个大连火车站有一个特别高的大楼叫碧海那个饭店，都是我们事务所审计的。
So it's a big all these big structures and big building your accounting firm help out. Now I remember you told me that you had a principle when you run your business. You would not make up things. 就说您这个做您的这个操作是有一个原则，能不能讲一下？
因为注册会计师行业属于一个社会公正，就是属于一个中介部门啊，就类似像律师事务所了啊，就是这些所。
So it's a professional organization, right?
我们的审计报告呢，就是政府机关和是各界都是参照我们这审计报告。
So people use your report as a reference for many things. Yeah.
但是在中国这个地方，就是假账呢，就是造假的，就是商品造假呀，或者是会计事务所的假报告呢，确实是比比皆是。
Understood. At the time, the society in China, a lot of cheating, a lot of forced reporting. Sure. Okay. Now, how do you run yours?
Yeah.
Do you we said Falun Gong practitioners in their daily life they follow truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance.
Yeah.
Okay.
因为我是修炼了那个法轮功呢，按照真善忍做好人，头一条就是真。我觉得这个行业最适合大法弟子干的，所以我这有几万个审计报告，几万份审计报告。
So you had tens of thousands of reports that you created. All right.
没有一个是假的。
All truthful.
全是真实的。在那个我出事以后，就是一个企业的老总说
After you were persecuted, their business shut down, right? And a CEO of another company said,
他说就这样，连王春荣都能给抓起来，这是共产党想干什么？现在就是逆向淘汰，留下的是坏人，把好人都抓起来了。
Right. So people in the society can tell that the communist regime basically it's really unfortunate that they do such a thing and the remaining of the people. Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing your story and about your business with us. 好，谢谢您给我们讲这件事情啊。好。那王春荣的妹妹王春英你好。是。
大家下午好。
对，好，谢谢你过来啊。Wang Chunyin was a senior nurse at a hospital, and she was arrested. How many times? 你被抓多少次？
我5次被抓，2次被劳教。
5 times you were arrested, and they put you in labor camp for 2 times. And I understand that you went through a lot in there. 就是在里面你是承受了很多。
对，我在里边承受了被毒打。
they beat you.
做农工活，不让睡觉，
forced labor, they won't let you sleep.
强行灌药，
and they
坐
forced
小板凳，强制抽血。
Okay, they drew your blood. They forcefully took your blood. Why do you think they took your blood? 你觉得他们为什么要抽你的血？强抽你的血？有没有？
因为在当时的时候是2006年的时候，
That
活
was
在法轮功器官。
year 2006. And you think it has something to do with organ harvesting? 跟活摘器官有关系。
已经曝光，对。
At that time, people knew already. But
我当时是09年的时候，在那个马三家教养院，当时他就要抽血做化验。
2009, that was when you were in there, and they wanted to take your blood. Okay. 他要抽你血，你有没有跟他们配合？
他抽血做化验，我就怀疑跟活塞器官有关，所以我就坚决的不配合。
All right, so you wouldn't cooperate, and then how did they treat you?
这次就上来3、4个警察拽着我往那个床上抽血那个地方使劲拽着我，
So 3, 4 policemen took you and put you onto a bed and try to forcefully take your blood. 要3次警察 ，OK, and then?
对，后来我就拽着那个门的把手，使劲的拽着，把整个身
So
体
you
压
held
在
on
下
to the
面。
door, the handle of a door, right?
最后边就被九个警察强行按压在床上。
And total 9 of them, 9 of the policemen took over and then push you on the bed.
压着我的头，把着我的2个上肢胳膊，下身子整个都警察按压在那个地方。
So they pressed down on your limbs, on your head.
这时候我就喊：法轮大法好，迫害大法弟子有罪。
So you loudly said Falun Dafa is good. It's a crime to persecute Falun Gong practitioners. Okay.
就被大队长王艳平顺手抓起一个枕头，一下子按在我的脸上。
So there was this someone in the labor camp. She took a pillow and put it over your head and pressed down.
我当时就觉得眼前漆黑，上不来气儿了。
Right. So pitch of black, you couldn't breathe.
我就拼命的挣扎，使劲晃着头。
Struggle. Okay.
这时候呢，头就撞在这个墙的边上。
Okay. Your head hit the wall.
对。
借着
床和枕头的一点点空隙呼吸。
Okay. So you were fortunately breathe because your head is.
才免于窒息死亡。
Right. Okay. So you struggle and you were able to breathe a little bit. Otherwise, you would have been dead. Okay.
我还是有幸的来到了美国。这被抽血的时候，会想到国内还有多少人法轮功习惯面对着被活摘器官、被屠杀，天天都在进行着。
Okay.
我心里非常非常的痛心。
Okay. Because of the time, we probably won't be able to get in too much detail. 因为时间关系，可能不能再多说。能不能把你的相片，就是当时酷刑的那个，给大家简单的看一下？ We're gonna take a look at the modeled picture of how typically Falun Gong practitioners were treated in labor camp. Okay, you're welcome to come up and take a look later at the end of the event. Okay, and okay, thank you, 春英，谢谢你啊。
谢谢。
And then the younger sister of the three, 春燕，王春燕。王春燕 was actually recently came to the United States. 是什么时候来美国的？
我是11月12日来的。
10月12日。
11月12日。
About a month ago, and you were persecuted severely as well in China. You escaped to Thailand, very similar to the case of Chunmei that we're just talking about. 你逃到泰国，然后周转来到美国，跟你们家人团聚。你在泰国待了多久？
在泰国待了2年半。
2.5 years you were in Thailand, and harsh conditions， 非常严峻的情况啊。
现在那个法轮功学员在泰国遭受着不公正的待遇。现在目前呢，那个泰国移民局监狱 IDC 吧，还有13位法轮功学员被关押。
Right.
这里边我有他们的一些
13. Yes, please. There's still 13 Falun Gong practitioners still in Thailand at this moment. And then, 你都认识这些学员吗？都跟一些比较熟悉。来，我帮你。Okay. Yeah, please give her. Yeah. So these are the Falun Gong practitioners in Thailand. Okay, and still in immigration jail. Okay, facing being sent back to China. 然后我知道您跟我说很多以前跟你一起修炼法轮功的学员在中国，他们就不幸的就被迫害死了。你有一些他们的照片可以给我们看一下吗？ So the people who practice Falun Gong with her in China, those who did not make it, perished in jail. They did not make it out to the free world. And these are the people who practice Falun Gong in China with her. She found their pictures and wanted to share this with us.
这16位法轮功学员都是我熟悉的。
Right. She knew them very well, Falun Gong practitioners in China, and 他们都是被迫害死了。
已经被迫害致死了。
They all passed away.
还有3位因为没有图片，所以不能描述下来。
Okay, there are 3 that did not have pictures.
我身边死于这场迫害的，加上我的丈夫，共有20人。
Okay, including her husband also indirectly being persecuted death. And 20人你知道的 20 people she's aware of.
是的。
perished because of the persecution. Okay, and it took them 8 long years to reunite in the United States. So at least this is something that we can be grateful of. 他们经历了8年多才能在美国一起团聚，经过了这场迫害。好，那就非常谢谢你们。
谢谢。
Okay, that will be all the Falun Gong practitioners who were persecuted in China serving as witness for today. Now let me remind you that these witnesses are from DC areas. Just in the DC areas, they're here. They are just the tip of the iceberg. Many Falun Gong practitioners perished, and many are still suffering from the persecution today, right now as we speak. Okay, we want to thank these witnesses to step forward to record their painful experience in order to raise the awareness to let the world know about this persecution. So let's give them a round of applause for thanking them. 谢谢你们，把你们的故事跟我们分享。